This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
Well, it's on. It's happening. Donald Trump is on his way to Alaska as we speak. Air Force One is in the air. He's surrounded by his heavy hitters. His economic team is with him, which is a good sign. Putin also has a number of business people and economic advisors around him for this meeting, which means they're going to emphasize how good a peace deal will be for the Russian economy. That's crucial. Trump has lowered expectations. He's saying he probably can't get a deal done today or this weekend, and that's okay. The reason I love this is because it is a roll of the dice. It's high risk, which means most presidents would not do this. Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter. Trump is willing to take a chance because he knows he's a damn good negotiator. He knows his guys are all good negotiators, so they're willing to take a shot. And one thing we know is it'll be more successful, I think, than his meeting in Helsinki in 2018 with Putin, which was sabotaged by the Russian collusion hoax. All the questions Trump got in his last joint press conference with Putin were about Russian meddling, Russian hacking, and all the stuff that Hillary Clinton and the Democrats in the deep state made up about Trump, which was later debunked. Of course, and it's being debunked every day, which is great. But I don't think when he has a joint press conference tonight with Putin, which will be just incredible theater, those two standing up there together, I can't imagine them doing this. If the meeting, if the lunch, if the negotiations fail, I can't see Trump and Putin standing up there and taking questions if nothing comes out of the meeting. So there's reason to be confident that it will at least advance the effort to end this stupid war. And I know Democrats, I know the media is rooting hard against the president. They're rooting hard for continued war, more dead civilians, Russians and Ukrainians. But you know who is rooting for Trump and Putin to make a deal today? I will tell you who. The people of Ukraine. They are done with this. They're sick of this. This is from Gallup just this week. It says, they write, most Ukrainians now favor ending the war with Russia through negotiations as support for fighting until victory has dropped sharply since the early days of the conflict. More than 3 years into the war, Ukrainians' support to continue the fight until victory has hit a new low in Gallup's recent poll of Ukraine, conducted in early July. 69% now favor a negotiated end of the war as soon as possible, compared to 24% of Ukrainians who want to continue fighting. You know why they don't want to continue fighting until victory? Because they know that's not realistic. That's not possible. As I've been saying for 3.5 years, nobody has ever laid out a plan for victory, a path for victory for Ukraine and us and all their allies in Europe. It's just not possible. So why wouldn't you demand an end, a negotiated end, a peaceful settlement to this? You can't win. I know I've said it 1,000 times, and trust me, I've tried to find a way. Somebody explained to me a way in which Ukraine, with our help, can win the war. It's not possible. So you have to hope for the best today, tonight, this weekend, in this high-stakes summit. You have to hope it ends this war, ends the killing. That's the new Trump doctrine, by the way. Stop the killing. That should be like on bumper stickers and posters and memes, and they should be cranking that out on social media. Stop the killing. Stop the killing in Washington, D.C. Stop the killing in Chicago and Los Angeles. Stop the killing in Ukraine. Stop the killing in Russia. That's his goal. He has said it for years. And I'm really not sure what the counter argument is. Let's not stop the killing, as we've talked about all week when we're talking about Washington, D.C. That's the goal of the National Guard, of federal forces in our nation's capital. Stop the killing. And that's the doctrine that Democrats must now oppose. They must now fight. They must now make a case against stopping the killing. I will do this weekend. I'll do it tonight. I'll do it all weekend. Try to find somebody who has an opposing point of view, who is against Trump's effort to end the war. It is incoherent. It is illogical to sit there today, and you will hear it, I'm sure. People criticize Trump for everything. Say, this is a bad move. This is appeasing a dictator. This is playing into Putin's hands. How? He wants to end the war. He doesn't want to go to extreme sanctions on Russia. He wants to stop the killing. This is the brilliance and the simplicity of the Trump doctrine. Let's just stop killing over a sliver of over the Donbass region. You have Americans now still waving the Ukraine flag who think somehow, some way, the land in eastern Ukraine is worth hundreds of thousands of more dead Ukrainians and dead Russians. And again, that was the policy of the last president. The last president was corrupt. The last president was a despicable, soulless liar who told you that Ukraine could win, who told you this was a fight for democracy. Well, that's over. Ukrainians are done with it. I assume Russians are done with it. It's a complete reversal. When the war started, 3/4 of Ukrainians wanted to fight to the death. Now, less than 1/4 of Ukrainians want to continue the war. They do not want their countrymen dying over the Donbass region. So I think the fact that Putin showed up in Alaska, the fact that Putin brought his economic team and business leaders to Alaska means there is some hope. And man, if Trump pulls this off, what are they going to do? Hillary Clinton, let me get this tweet. This is amazing. Of all people, let's be honest, nobody hates Trump more than Hillary. I would say nobody. Hillary Clinton now says, if Trump can do this deal, here it is. Hillary Clinton openly admits she would nominate President Trump for the Nobel Prize if he ends the war in Ukraine. Honestly, if he could bring about the end of this terrible war, if he could end it without putting Ukraine in a position where it had to concede its territory to the aggressor, could really stand up to Putin, something we haven't seen, but maybe this is the opportunity. If Trump were the architect of that, I'd nominate him for a Nobel Prize. Well, I guess she qualifies it because Ukraine is going to have to give up land. Some of that land, the people speak Russian. Some of that land, they want to be Russian. Not all of it is going to be concessions. It's a negotiation. But Zelensky is not involved here. He says he can't make a deal until he brings it back to Zelensky. That's showing some deference to Zelensky. That's good. But it is a big first step. And Trump talked to the media, of course, on his way to Alaska on Air Force One. This must be so intense. Can you imagine being one of the media members on the plane heading to Alaska and covering this negotiation and sitting there for the joint press conference? This could be historic. It could be nothing. It could be disaster, but it could be history. It could be that moment when Trump just cements his reputation as a master deal maker, a master peacemaker. Here's Trump on the plane today, just a short while ago, talking about what he expects from his meeting with Putin.
You had said earlier this week that Putin would face severe consequences if you get the sense from him that he's not interested. What do you mean by that?
Economically severe. Yes, it will be very severe. I'm not doing this for my health, okay? I don't need it. I'd like to focus on our country, but I'm doing this to save a lot of lives. Yeah, very severe.
Very severe. So he has some leverage here. It would be much better for Russia, for the Russian economy, if they make some concessions, if they make a deal, if they allow Zelensky a win at some level with this land swap. They've already swapped prisoners. He's on his way to ending this conflict, which is, again, the worst war in Europe since World War II. It will be an amazing thing. It's too bad it's on a Friday night in August, the slowest news time you can have on the calendar. But man, I'll be watching. I'll be fascinated to see the joint press conference. It's too bad Putin can't speak English, won't speak English, but it will be wild to see the body language, to see the handshake, to see what they say about each other when this ends. And again, it's different from last time because you don't have the Russia hoax hanging. That's how despicable these Russian hoaxers are. He was meeting with Putin 7 years ago, 6-7 years ago, and all the questions were about the Russia hoax, which was totally made up, which we know now. That's the length they went to sabotage the sitting president. That ain't happening this time, and thank God for that. All right, we got to get to the other big move, the other brilliant move Trump made this week, because it's working, and his opponents, his adversaries, have got nothing. In D.C. right now, I was just talking to someone in D.C. They said they haven't seen the National Guard, but ICE is everywhere. That was their, and ICE is giving a show of force. They got their trucks, they got their vehicles, big labels on them, ICE. They are not backing down. They obviously, people, there are crazy lunatics out there, like the sub tosser, we'll get to him, who want to stop ICE. Well, too bad, because Pam Bondi made two big announcements. One is the Metropolitan Police Department will now cooperate with ICE. That is huge. It makes ICE's job easier, and it means lots more real bad illegal aliens are going to be snatched up, disappeared by ICE, masked men in ICE vehicles. And two, she has removed that incompetent DEI hire, Pamela Smith, as police chief, and named her own guy from the DOJ to be acting police chief of D.C. So this effort to make D.C. safer, to make D.C. livable again, is moving forward, and it is a welcome thing for just about everybody. I don't think Trump plans these things. He just, again, has common sense. He just looks out his window and says, this is insane that the nation's capital is not safe. So they bring in the forces, they bring in the show of force, they got the vehicles, they got the men out there, they got ICE and many other federal agents on the streets, and the people of D.C. are grateful. The people of D.C., tourists and residents alike, are thrilled. The only people who are upset about this are Democrats, are Chuck Schumer, who said it's safe to walk around as long as you have, armed security. What's the big deal? And then you have perhaps the most ridiculous resistance fighter we have ever seen. We talked earlier this week about the liberal mindset, the woke mind virus that's infected Trump's opponents, the Trump haters. We talked about. No, I want to get to the subway tosser again. We're going to get to her, but we talked about the guy on MSNBC who says when he walks around D.C., he's more fearful. He's more fearful of climate change than he is of criminals mugging him or robbing him. He's more fearful of losing his vote than losing his wallet. Well, I think we have a new face of the resistance. It's not going to last long, but this is what you got on the other side. You have a federal employee, or should I say a former federal employee, in his pink polo, in his beige shorts, out there screaming at ICE agents or National Guardsmen. I think they were National Guardsmen. And then his big act of defiance is throwing the sub sandwich, throwing his ham and cheese. Here we go again. I can't watch this enough. Look at him run. His name is Sean Dunn. We get the name. Don't have a mugshot yet. Look at him run. And he gets tackled. He gets arrested. He doesn't get to eat, loses his dinner, loses his job. Hopefully will lose his freedom. Here's the update from WUSA 9 in D.C. The man accused of throwing a Subway sandwich at a federal officer was back in federal court Thursday facing felony charges. A judge released 37-year-old Sean Dunn former Department of Justice employee on his own recognizance, despite prosecutors pushing for serious felony assault charges that carry up to 8 years in prison. Gee, if someone threw a sub at a Capitol Hill cop on January 6th, you think they'd be released on their own personal recognizance? I don't think so. You think they'd be walking out of court without posting bail? Well, check this out. Prosecutors say the video posted to Instagram shows the incident Sunday night at 14th and U Street, Northwest. Court documents alleged Dunn verbally confronted federal officers before tossing his sandwich at one officer from close range. Police say Dunn admitted to the act, telling officers, "I did it. I threw the sandwich." I still can't. I've watched this a dozen times. What is going through your mind? I know he hates Trump. I know he's a big liberal. I know he's a hack federal employee, or was. What do you think you accomplish by doing this? I mean, what I know, like Antifa people are insane. They're all sick. They're mentally ill. Most of the Antifa people, they just hate everything. They hate the country. They hate the government. They hate Trump. But this guy was working at the DOJ. We'll get to that. He appeared in court Monday, where a judge released him. But 2 days later, prosecutors obtained a new arrest warrant, this time in federal court. Dunn's attorney says he tried to turn himself in, but instead, 20 officers came to his home to arrest him. Yes, that's how it's done. That's what I voted for. That's how they treated, Trump's lawyers. That's what that's what they did to Roger Stone and Peter Navarro. That's what they did to pro-lifers who prayed outside abortion clinics. They sent an army of armed federal agents to their home. That's what they did to January 6ers who walked peacefully through the Capitol. This guy, on video, assaulted a federal officer. So they came to his house to arrest him. In court, the defense revealed Dunn served in the U.S. Air Force and had worked for the DOJ before being fired. His attorney argued no one was injured, calling the felony charge excessive. The judge agreed to release Dunn while he awaits trial. His next court date is September 4th. He was an international affairs specialist at the DOJ. I'm just going to guess, making 150, maybe 170 grand. I'm sure he worked from home. I'm sure he didn't put in a real hard day's work. Had a good gig. Somehow, he was still at the DOJ after Trump won and Pam Bondi took over. How is that possible? I know Laura Loomer is obsessed with this. She does a good job for the most part, looking at people who have not been properly vetted by the Trump team, because it's a big job. There's 2 million federal employees. But how does a lunatic like this slip through the cracks? And this guy can't, I assume he's not a total moron. What did he think he was going to accomplish? I can't get over this. You're yelling at a federal agent who's just a guy who's, joined the National Guard, and he was sent there. He was assigned this. He didn't pick this. He's probably all on board, but he didn't pick this. He's probably some 19-year-old kid trying to pay his way through college, join the National Guard. And you throw a sandwich at him on camera. What do you get out of it? What's the mind? What's the thought process? This is not just a crazy, left winger. This is an employee at the DOJ, an Air Force veteran. Do you think you accomplish anything? Well, I think he accomplished one thing, and it's laughable. The Washington Post, and Washington Post is such a joke. It really is, and it always has been. But it's as we've talked about many times, they had the story the other day, which went viral, of a guy claiming D.C. is safe, but demanding anonymity because he didn't feel safe. Remember that guy? That was in the Washington Post. Well, this is what they wrote in their headline. I don't have the whole story because I'm certainly not going to subscribe to the Washington Post. But they say people think Sean Dunn is a hero. Could you point to me one person who thinks Sean Dunn is a hero? Many people have been mocking the Washington Post because here's your headline. Man who hurled his hoagie at law enforcement in D.C. becomes a hero to many residents. Dan Egan of the Washington Post posted, okay, there's not one person, not one, not even, I don't care how much, a crazy Democrat, Trump hater. Who thinks that guy's a hero? I mean, if he, knocked the guy out, maybe you could say, yeah, that's a guy who took he'd be another Luigi Mangione. But everybody knows he accomplished nothing except losing his job and maybe going to federal prison. Who thinks he's a hero? Anybody? Maybe you can get someone on the comment line. Send in your comments and questions. It's Friday. We're going to read some. Ironhead is going to wake up from his morning nap and compile some of the better comments. We will get to those. But someone out there, explain to me why you think a guy's a hero for throwing a sub at... They had a witness who claimed it was a turkey sub with banana peppers. I'm not sure how the guy knew that, but the New York Post was digging deep on this, and the guess is that it was a turkey sub, and the guy said he wanted banana peppers. Well, that thing is now in evidence. Sean Dunn, former DOJ employee, did not get to eat. I think he might have torn his pink polo too when they tackled him. But if he's a hero, why don't they go interview him? Why doesn't the Washington Post go sit down with him and ask him what his motive was and what he thought he was going to accomplish? But it is just fascinating to kind of study the liberal mind or the Trump derangement syndromes infecting the minds of these people. Again, you want to chant or sing or protest, sure, but you just lost your job. And you will probably lose your freedom. I don't think Pam Bondi is going to just let this slide. I don't think they're going to say, oh, no one got hurt, we'll drop the charges. That's not the standard anymore. This has to happen. He has to go to prison. And when he does, he's going to be the biggest joke on the cell block. What are you in for? Says the guy with the teardrop tattoo doing 5 consecutive life terms. I threw my sub at some young National Guardsman. You what? Yeah, didn't you hear? The Washington Post says I'm a hero. All right, we got to get to so much more on this crazy Friday. We got another look. We got a few looks at the twisted, warped liberal mind. I know it's overstated. I know it's a cliche, but it is amazing how Trump has broken some people, including candidates to succeed him, like Gavin Newsom and Jasmine Crockett. These people are insane. The Democrats have a real problem. They tell you every day that Trump is evil, Trump is corrupt, Trump is ruining the country, but they cannot present to you an alternative. Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris, Jasmine, Tim Walz, the midterms are, what are they, a year and a half away? The next election is 3.5 years away. They got nothing. We'll tell you about Gavin Newsom's little stunt in L.A. yesterday. And Jazzy, she made an appearance on Martha's Vineyard, and it didn't go well for Jasmine Campbell, as Al Sharpton called her. We'll get to that and more, but first.
Excuse me.
If you've ever searched for your name or address on Google, it's shocking to find how many results have your personal information, and it's not by chance. Data brokers and people search sites, collect your personal information, your name, address, phone number, financial info, income, and hundreds of other records. They sell it and share it publicly without your consent. But Incogni is here to put an end to that. It hunts down these unethical sites and gets your info removed from the places that expose your private information. You don't have to email anyone, fill out forms, or jump through hoops. They handle the entire process for you. Incogni is also continually monitoring if your data is put back into these databases, requesting repeated removals. This way, it keeps them off there forever. So you get fewer spam calls, spam emails, and you get more peace of mind. And best of all, you can cancel anytime, and they offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can get it completely risk-free. Right now, you get 60% off an annual plan by going to incogni.com and use code word Callahan. That's Incogni, INCOGNI.com/Callahan, and use the code word Callahan at checkout. You get 60% off and protect your data for an entire year. It wasn't just D.C. where the heroes of ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, were out doing their jobs again yesterday. It was also in L.A. where Gavin Newsom held an event. It was called he made he had a small rally with a bunch of crazy California Democrats, and he came up with a proposal. It's called Election Rigging Response Act, where they're promising to fight back because Trump's rigging the election. We've gone over this. It's just absurd. They started it. They have redistricted just about every blue state, blue city. New England is the best example. New England has no GOP reps. New Hampshire, 48% of New Hampshire are Republican. They have 0 Republican reps. Massachusetts, 36% voted for Trump, 0 Republican reps. They've already done it. And now they're vowing to do it again. In California, Gavin Newsom says this is war. He's fighting Trump. And outside the rally, or outside the event, ICE was snatching up illegal aliens and just giving the double middle finger to Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass. But Newsom's coming unglued. I think he thinks this is a strategy because this makes him seem like he's a fighter. He's coming after Trump. And he went off, on Trump, called him everything dictator, fascist, all the usual nonsense. But obviously, he's just a despicable, just a disgusting human being. He really is. Greasy Gavin does nothing but lie. I think if he runs, if he wins, if he's the nominee, I think you're going to see in ads for J.D. Vance, who will hopefully be the nominee, just show the Palisades, just show the areas which have been destroyed by the fires, which were caused by bad leadership, negligence on the part of elected Democrats, and show how they've rebuilt nothing. Adam Carolla posted a video of the beach of the ocean front, and there's not one house being rebuilt, not one. That's Democrat leadership. But Newsom went off on Trump, and he claims Trump's not going to leave office. I mean, there's lots of silly things these people say about Trump, but this is the silliest. The idea, Trump has made it clear. I mean, again, what makes you think he can't run again? He knows he can't run again. On top of that, he's going to be, 83? He's not going to run again. It's just silly. But I guess Newsom thinks his followers or his voters are stupid because they are for the most part. Here he is feigning outrage, claiming that he's convinced Trump's not going to leave office because someone sent him a hat. Yes, this is his case against Trump. Go ahead.
Fact that we're affirming our independent commission, and we're calling for a national independent commission as well. Well, I think it's pretty sick and pathetic. And it just said everything you need to know, the setting that we're under. That they chose the time, manner, and place to send their district director outside right when we're about to have this press conference. It said everything you know about Donald Trump's America. And that was top down. You know that for a fact. And they'll deny it, I'm sure. Maybe they won't deny it. It said everything you know about the authoritarian tendencies of the President of the United States. I said in a moment ago, wake up, America. Wake up. You will not have a country if he rigs this election. You will have a president who will be running for a 3rd term. Mark my word. I wasn't exaggerating when I said that I received in the mail a Trump 2028 hat from one of his biggest supporters. These guys are not screwing around. The rules do not apply to him. The most corrupt president in history. He doesn't believe in free enterprise, crony capitalism. He is wrecking this country, wrecking the economy. He's a lawless president. Wake up, America. Wake up to what's going on.
So someone sent him a hat that said Trump 2028, and that means Trump's running again. You know what? It's obviously Trump just trolling when he even mentions, he always laughs about it, smiles, says, yeah, maybe I'll stay on. He's obviously not staying on. He didn't last time, when they rigged the election and Okay, said the laptop was Russian disinformation, and he lost to Joe Biden, and he went back to Mar-a-Lago. That's what he's going to do in January 2029. He's going to go back to Mar-a-Lago and hopefully hand the reins to J.D. Vance. But here's the problem they have. I'm looking at all the polls. I literally have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 polls here, everything. We got Emerson College, McLaughlin, Echelon, Morning Consult, and they have the field of Democrats. I mean, they're all the usual suspects. There it is on the screen. There are 10 polls. Kamala Harris leaves in 8 of them, and Buttigieg leaves in the other 2. Newsom comes in 3rd. The polling average, Kamala Harris, 25.7%. Buttigieg, 12.7%. Newsom, 10.7%. AOC, 6.7%. Josh Shapiro, he would be a formidable candidate, 6%. Bernie Sanders, 5%. Tim Walz, 5%. Cory Booker, almost 5%. Whitmer, Mark Cuban, Andy Beshear, another guy who would be interesting, 2%. Pritzker, 2%, after all the money he spent. Stephen A. Smith, 1.5%. Jazzy Jasmine Crockett's at 1%. Jon Stewart at 1%. If Kamala Harris is hiding, she's not even out there. I know she has a book coming out that someone wrote for her, but look at that list. Look at these people who are going to be on the stage debating, trying to get the nomination and win the White House. This is the biggest clown show we've ever seen in modern political history, that Kamala Harris, who was simply the worst candidate we have ever seen, an awful candidate who spent $1.5 billion in 107 days and failed miserably. She is leading, and it's not even close. I mean, things could change. She's a terrible debater. When she was on her own in 2020, she failed miserably. But Buttigieg, he can't win nationwide. We know that. And then Newsom at number 3, a guy who's destroyed California. And there will be so much material to use against him. And then AOC, Bernie Sanders. I know analysts, political, pundits and analysts spend a lot of time talking about, the messaging, and Democrats don't have good messaging. They still support men and women's sports and open borders and crime. What about the people? What about the messenger? This list, this group is just comical. And I think Newsom would probably do the best in the debate, because he'll say anything, because he doesn't give a damn, doesn't have a conviction or a core principle in his body. He's just a slick political operative. That's all he is. But he's running, and he's going to be out there, and his staff is now tweeting like Trump. They're imitating Trump with capital letters and "thank you for your attention," all the things Trump does. They're doing that. Someone in his office decided, let's start tweeting like Trump. I don't think it's going to work. But all right, let's get to who's not on that list? Liz Warren. She's only going to be 78, 79. She's a kid. She should be on that list. She's run before. She has a real following. She's going to have something. The New York mayor, Mom Donnie's going to endorse her. Here, Trump yesterday. I love this when Trump talks about the fake Indian. Trump asked about Liz Warren yesterday, and he just lays into her. This is great. Good.
So vicious what they do. Elizabeth Warren said she was an Indian. We call her Pocahontas. She's a liar. She lied her whole career. Based on the fact that she was an Indian, she was able to get into certain colleges, get certain jobs, get into certain universities to work there. She's a liar and a mean person. She's a nut job. I watched her the other night. She's all hopped up endorsing a communist in New York City. And she was all excited and jumping up and down. She's got to take a drug test. She really does. She's got to take a drug test. There's no way somebody can act that way and be normal. What she's done to our financial institutions, he destroys people.
He's so right. She is a liar. She's a fraud, and she destroys people. She was the leading proponent of debanking Republicans. She's going to be exposed in the next couple of years. Further exposed. It won't matter. It won't matter. She'll win. She'll be 70, whatever. She'll be 78, 79. She'll remain in the Senate until she dies. One more Trump clip. Get Trump on Social Security, because I love these issues where there's just no way to object. There's no way to resist. Trump announced that they kicked off a lot of illegal aliens off Social Security. This is what Democrats are fighting for. Giving your money, giving Social Security to illegal aliens. This is one of those common sense things, one of those 80-20 issues. And Trump explained it yesterday. Go ahead.
Benefits, we've already kicked nearly 275,000 illegal aliens off of the Social Security system. These are people, many of them have already left the country, and yet we were sending them checks all the time. And 275,000, and that number is now even larger than that, Frank. It's an unbelievable job. And what that's doing is making the system strong. It's making it strong.
Go ahead. Argue with that. Disagree with that, Democrats. Let's hear it, Gavin. Let's hear it, Jazzy. You wanted illegal aliens on Social Security. These are people, Liz Warren especially, screaming every day. He's kicking people off Social Security. He's kicking people off Medicaid. Yes, he is. People who don't belong on Social Security or Medicaid. That's who he's kicking off, and that's what we voted for. All right. We got to get to Jazz. Let's do the Harry Enton clip first, because there's another. Again, he just stumbles across these 80-20 issues and forces Democrats to defend, violent criminals, forces them to defend roving gangs of teenage carjackers in D.C. They're trying to stop those people. The residents are applauding it. Tourists, obviously. Every decent person says, good, let's fight crime in a nation's capital. Not Democrats. They think it's fascist. They think it's authoritarian. Well, the public isn't buying that. Here's wacky Harry Enton explain how the voters, the people, are all in on Trump's effort to stop violent crime.
Democrats have to get it around their heads that Americans are far more hawkish on crime than they think that they are. What are we talking about? Trump's net approval handling crime. Where was he last year? He was way underwater at minus 13 points views of term number one. But look at where he is now. He's on the positive side of the ledger. He's on the positive side at plus 1 point. Americans view Trump far more favorably now on crime than they did a year ago. Donald Trump is like Air Jordan towering over Joe Biden when it comes to their handling of crime. Look, in 2024, look at where Biden's net approval was on crime. Way underwater there at minus 26 points. It was one of Biden's worst issues. Granted, pretty much every issue was one of Biden's worst issues. And again, look at where Donald Trump is. Way, way, way above Joe Biden. What is that? That's 27 points. So Americans vastly prefer Donald Trump's approach to crime than they did to Joe Biden. In 2023, Republicans were favored by 13 points. Look at where they were in May of this year. Republicans were actually favored by 16 points. They actually gained ground on crime. They were maintaining their edge and actually added a little bit to it.
Gee, what do you think the public thinks of Trump's effort in D.C. to stop crime? Speaking of which, can you get this? I didn't even mention this to you, but here's a guy in Chicago. See if we can get that video. Guy in Chicago doing a Facebook Live. And while he's doing it, he's murdered in Chicago. A guy doing a little riff on Facebook Live in Chicago, and you don't hear a word about this. I know I talk about it all the time, the murders in Chicago. I look it up all the time, every weekend, 43, 47, 52 murders, most of them Black people, victims and perpetrators. And what does Brandon Johnson, the mayor, what does J.B. Pritzker, the governor, talk about? They talk about Trump a fascist. Here's what's going on in their city. I mean, you don't actually see the bullet go into his chest, but this is what happened. He got dragged out of his car and murdered for his chain while doing a Facebook Live. Can we play a little of this?
I say, listen, bro, if they do come, let us park right here, you feel me? If they do come get me, we'll move the car so they can get the space. We will move our car, whatever car we need so they can get the space, just let us get the park. So now oh no, we can't do that. No, you just gotta find somewhere else to park. Who the fuck is you talking to? You feel me? Like, who the fuck is you talking to for real, even talking like that? Like, that be the shit, and that's what make a motherfucker be wanting to get into it with y'all, because y'all ain't got no respect. What's up, bro? What's up? Hell no.
There it is. Murdered. Have you seen that anywhere? Did you see that on, the evening news on CBS or NBC? Brandon Johnson come out and talked about that? Murdered live on Facebook. It goes on for a while. You can hear people screaming, call the cops. You can hear, ambulance shows up as the Facebook Live continues. It's just incredible. That's your blue city with your blue mayor and your blue governor and the people who are fighting Trump's effort to stop crime. Yes, and we also have a congresswoman, a sitting congresswoman on MSNBC live talking about her family who are all illegal aliens. She's an anchor baby. Her parents are illegal aliens from Guatemala, came here, had her. She became obviously an American. And now she's a sitting congressman, and she goes on TV and admits her family are all illegal aliens. And she seems to have no fear that Tom Homan's going to hear this or see this and show up in Chicago and deport them. He should. I hope he does. But listen to a congresswoman talk about her own family. Go ahead.
About that. I mean, for us members of Congress, for me, who is a daughter of immigrants, who half my family is still undocumented, watching that footage.
Half my family, her husband's undocumented, her parents, and she doesn't care. She's the one who said she's a Guatemalan first and then an American. She said it in Mexico City in Spanish. That's a sitting member of Congress, a Democrat, explaining to you how her family are all illegals and why are they not getting deported? We voted for that. We will see. And we saved the best for last among crazy Democrats. But there was an event there, and don't ask me why, but I watched a good chunk of this. There was a panel, an event on Martha's Vineyard, just for Black people, Black politicians, Black leaders. And there was a panel on stage that included Al Sharpton, Ayanna Pressley, and Jasmine Campbell. That's what Al Sharpton called her, Jasmine Campbell. And Jazzy did her usual riff, her usual rant. Get the Jasmine Crockett clip first. Republicans are all Nazis and KKK, and she did her whole ghetto thing where she pretends she's from the ghetto, but even though we know she's not, we know she used to speak proper English, and she knows she's well educated, but it's all an act. Here she is with what she thinks is a very friendly crowd on Martha's Vineyard. Go ahead.
I talk to Black folk all the time as somebody that's a child of a preacher. Listen, most Black people are not Republicans simply because we just is like, y'all racist. I can't hang out with the KKK in them. That's really what it is. But when we think about who we are as Black people and we think about where we come from, most Black people have very conservative values, right? But the reality is that we just can't side with the neo-Nazis in them. We not dealing with y'all like that, right?
God, she is so obnoxious. I again have mixed feelings. They are trying to redistrict her out of a job in Texas, which would be great. She would then end up on MSNBC or somewhere. But we need her in Congress. We need her. We need her running for president. But most of the audience loved her. That's why they're there. But not everyone. Sarah Gonzalez from The Blaze, I don't know why, but these things just make me laugh. Shows up to heckle her and call her out for the fraud that she is. They drag her out. But this is great. Good.
I used to stay at my granny's house. She was one of my favorite people in the entire world.
Jasmine, the people of Dallas deserve better than a fake ghetto hood rat. Do they know you're a rich kid from Missouri? Do they know you're a spoiled rich kid from Missouri? No, ma'am. Don't touch me. No, ma'am. Don't touch me. Get your ass out of here. Get your ass out of here. Get her off me. Get it back. Get off me. Get out. Get off me. I know. Get her off me first. I'm standing first. Yes, she is. I'm standing first. Do your people know you're a spoiled rich kid from Missouri? Get it. Get it. Get it. Fuck you.
That takes some balls. That takes some balls. But she's right. She's a rich kid from Missouri, a spoiled rich kid, well-educated rich kid. It's all an act. I mean, it's an act with all of them, with Newsom, with Jazzy. It's all an act. And I think we'll call her Jasmine Campbell from now on. Al Sharpton was sitting on stage with her and didn't know her name. All right, do we have any Oh, good. We have any good comments, Ironhead? Go ahead. You always say they suck.
They're not great. They're more comments than questions, and they usually just fight with each other. A few libs get it.
I'll get to that, but let's introduce our audience to the newest New England Patriot cheerleader, because I tweeted this and got a big reaction. It is, I mean, we've had male cheerleaders obviously for years. I had a good friend in college. I played football with him, and he was a good football player, big, strong guy. And one day he says, "I'm joining the cheerleading team for the basketball." I'm like, "You what?" He goes, "Yeah, I get to pick up all the girls and throw them in the air. It's fun." And he did it to meet girls. That I understand. And I understand you have, male gymnasts who want to do flips and hold the megaphone and throw girls in the air and get the crowd going. That's been around forever. But here's the latest Patriot cheerleader. This is not what Patriots fans want. Shaking his hips, waving. That's a guy pretending to be a girl is what he's doing. That's what the female cheerleaders are supposed to do. You're supposed to hoist them up and throw them in the air and help them do their flips. There's not a single Patriot fan who's going to go to a game, spend $500 for the whole deal to go to a game and tailgate and go in there and wants to see that. I'm sorry, it just isn't. We're done with this, and not a good idea. But NFL is continuing, by the way. They're going to have end racism back in the end zones and in the helmets because they haven't ended racism yet. Yeah, they're still trying. They're still working to end racism. So we'll see it in the end zone and on some of their helmets again this year. And you get to see that guy. If you're a Patriot fan, you go to the games. But he does like the Elvis hip thrust, which I'm not sure exactly who that's appealing to, but you're going to see it this year in Foxborough. All right, let me look at these comments, which you always think suck.
I do, and I'm always right.
Do they have any comments about the sub tosser?
Yeah, the first one. He's not the only lunatic on the left that somehow got into a position talking about the
it's amazing. And you know what's the amazing thing is he thought he was going to get away with it. Everyone's got their phones out. He has a job at the DOJ, I assume making good money. He has a career. And he threw it all away when he threw the sub at some innocent National Guardsman. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with this. Oh, John says Trump supporters are anti-American. We see the economy starting to collapse, and they cheer it on. Trump supporters cheer that on? Republicans hate America. Really? They got nothing. There's never any argument that makes any sense except Trump bad. Newsom 2028 says Metwish Khan. Newscum. I don't really like that nickname, but whatever. Newscum is all lies and hate for the USA. James says every politician needs to take a mandatory drug test. Oh, this guy says Lanny says he wants a Trump 2028 hat. You know what? That's not a bad idea. That would absolutely send people insane. Hell, a regular Trump hat makes people insane. It won't happen tonight, but it will be a great start toward ending the war. That is true. It will. Trump said as much. It's not going to happen tonight because Zelensky's not involved, but it will happen. It has to happen. Again, there's no, unless Putin plans to nuke Ukraine, he's sort of at a standstill. He's wasting lots of money and lives, and he's looking at serious sanctions. So I think it's going to work, and I can't wait, because when it works, Trump is going to get the Nobel Prize. And just hopefully he goes and accepts it and brags about it, because that will trigger they'll be throwing more than sub sandwiches that day. They will be just throwing fits. But, all right, you're right, Ironhead. But that will do it for today. I'm looking forward on this beautiful August Friday, sitting here and watching Trump and Putin together tonight. That's going to be wild. Looking forward to it. Hopefully good things come of it for the world and the country. And then I'll be flipping over to MSNBC just to watch the meltdown. Can't wait. Can't wait. But that'll do it for tonight, for today, and for this week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we will do it again Monday morning.
And what crime has he committed that would warrant his arrest? What crime has Governor Newsom committed?
A crime has he committed?
Yeah, to warrant his arrest, as you had
I think his
earlier.
primary crime is running for governor, because he's done such a bad job